Welcome to the Lost Worlds podcast. You've brought us some really fascinating source material for today's deep dive. Honestly, it's got us completely hooked.
It's pretty wild stuff, isn't it?
Definitely. So our mission today is to really dig into this striking claim we found in the sources. It's an article from lostworlds.org by Gary C. Daniels.
Right.
And it suggests that these ancient structures, continents apart, millennia apart, might share some incredibly unusual significant astronomical alignments. And symbolism, too.
We're talking places like Georgia, here in the U.S., and Egypt. Thousands of miles apart.
Exactly. It really sets the stage for looking at connections across huge distances and time periods that, you just wouldn't normally expect.
Okay, so let's dive in. What's the core thing here?
Well, what jumped out immediately from the source material is the central puzzle.
Mm.
You have ancient structures in wildly different parts of the world that seem to align to the sunrise on the exact same two specific dates each year.
That's right. We're talking about the Akmolji Earth Lodge in Macon, Georgia, and then you've got the famous Abu Simbel Temple built by Ramses II way over in Aswan, Egypt.
And both of them apparently have these alignments where the sun hits a very specific spot inside the structure on February 22nd and October 22nd.
Okay, February 22nd, October 22nd. And I have to ask, why those dates? Because, usually when we talk about ancient alignments, we're thinking about the big markers, right? The obvious ones.
Exactly. Cultures everywhere track the solstices, June 21st, December 21st, longest and shortest days.
Or the equinoxes. March 21st, September 21st,
Yeah.
equal day and night. Those make astronomical sense globally.
Right, they're universal. You build something aligned to the summer solstice sunrise, that means something everywhere.
But February 22nd and October 22nd, they don't line up with those big turning points. They feel, almost arbitrary, don't they?
They really do. So the question is, why would builders thousands of miles and thousands of years apart pick those specific, seemingly random dates for these major solar alignments?
And it gets even weirder because the article throws in a third connection. February 22nd also happens to be the very last day of the Aztec solar year.
Okay, hold on. So now we have this date popping up as important in ancient Georgia, ancient Egypt, and for the Aztecs in Mesoamerica.
Yeah, it's genuinely odd. Two ancient sites, different continents built thousands of years apart, share these unusual dates, and one of those dates is also the end of the year for another major civilization. What on earth could possibly connect them?
This is where the author of that article, Gary Daniels, puts forward a pretty bold hypothesis.
Okay.
He suggests linking these specific alignments and dates not just to, keeping time or seasons, but potentially to major destructive cosmic events.
Okay. Cosmic events.
Yeah.
Let's unpack the timelines then. The Akmolji Earth Lodge in Georgia. When was that?
It dates to sometime before 1015 AD. We know that because the archaeology shows it was deliberately burned down right around then, 1015 AD.
Okay, around the turn of the first millennium AD. And Abu Simbel.
That was built by Ramses II, way back, around 1240 BC.
Wow. So you're talking about a time difference of over 2,000 years between them.
Easily. Over 2 millennia separating let's say, the use or construction of these two sites.
Yet they share this incredibly specific non-solstice, non-equinox solar alignment.
Right. And the hypothesis connects these dates to potential cosmic impacts, specifically fragments from Comet Encke and the Taurid meteor stream.
Okay, the Taurids. Let's look at Akmolji first. It was abandoned, burned down, 1015 AD. The article points to evidence of a large meteor impact event. When was it? September 1014 AD. Just the year before.
Exactly. It's fascinating. The sources cited suggest 1, maybe even 2, large meteors hit the Atlantic Ocean around September 1014 AD.
And there's evidence for that.
Yeah, the article mentions historical accounts, Italy, Spain, plus geological evidence, even ice core data, all pointing towards massive tsunamis hitting coastlines across the Atlantic, the Caribbean too.
Wow. And the author links this directly to the Taurids.
Yes. Suggests these impacts were likely fragments from the Taurid meteor stream. The one that comes from Comet Encke's debris trail. It's called Taurid because the meteors seem to come from the direction of the Pleiades, which are in the constellation Taurus, the bull.
Okay, so the timing is tight. Akmolji's destruction in 1015 AD lines up really closely with this proposed major cosmic impact event from the Taurid stream in September 1014 AD. That's quite a correlation.
It is. Now, think about Abu Simbel, built around 1240 BC. That's just before another period of massive, widespread chaos in the ancient world.
You mean the late Bronze Age collapse around
Yeah.
1200 BC?
Exactly. As cited in the article, this was a violent, sudden, culturally shattering transition. It hit civilizations across the Near East, the Aegean, the Eastern Mediterranean, hard.
Yeah, I mean, the historian Robert Rodriguez described it right. Almost every significant city in that whole region just destroyed. Many never recovered, all within maybe 40, 50 years, around 1200 BC. Civilizations just vanished, trade collapsed, even literacy declined massively.
And here's the potential link the article highlights. Some researchers have actually put forward the idea that a breakup of Comet Encke, leading to a really intense rain of meteors or impacts.
Could be a possible cause, or at least a contributing factor, for the Bronze Age collapse, too.
That's the idea presented. So the hypothesis linking the alignment dates to cosmic events starts to feel a bit stronger, doesn't it?
Well, you've got these structures, Akhmolji and Abu Simbel, built or used just before these major periods of devastation.
Right. Akhmolji before the 1014-1014 Fane event, Abu Simbel before the Bronze Age collapse.
And both of those destructive periods are potentially linked, by some researchers cited in the source, to activity from the same cosmic source, the Taurids, Comet Encke.
So the alignment dates, February 22nd and October 22nd, maybe they weren't arbitrary at all. Maybe they were dates that ancient sky watchers associated with the passage, or maybe danger periods of this meteor stream.
Like markers, or even warnings, encoded right into their most important buildings.
That's the core idea behind the date connection. But honestly, this is where, for me, it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the article then dives into shared symbolism that seems to strongly back up this potential cosmic link. It's not just the dates anymore.
Right. The visual and symbolic parallels that the article points out are, well, they're pretty uncanny. Let's go back to Abu Simbel.
Okay.
On those two specific dates, Feb 22nd and October 22nd, the sunrise goes deep into the temple, illuminates statues of gods inside the sanctuary, but it leaves one in shadow.
And that's Ta, right? The god of creation, but also the underworld. He stays in the dark.
Exactly. And the article points out that over time, Ta got linked with, or sort of merged into, this deity called Ta-Sokar. And Ta-Sokar was often depicted
as a birdman, or sometimes just as a falcon.
Yeah.
Often found in tombs, right?
Yes. Now, jump across the Atlantic, back to Akhmolji in Georgia. Inside that Earth Lodge, there was a raised clay platform.
And guess what shape it was?
A hawk or a falcon.
Unbelievable. And this wasn't just a one-off thing, was it?
No. The article says that throughout Georgia, during this period, archaeologists find widespread images of a birdman or falcon man. It looks remarkably similar to that Ta-Sokar hawkman form from Egypt.
Okay, that's a major symbolic parallel.
Yeah.
A birdman figure connected to a structure aligned to these strange dates showing up in both ancient Egypt and ancient Georgia.
But there's an even more specific detail the author emphasizes, isn't there? A shared symbol.
Yes. Found on the bird imagery in Georgia, both the hawk-falcon platform at Akhmolji and a lot of the other Georgia birdman images have this distinctive symbol drawn around one eye. Archaeologists call it the forked eye motif.
The forked eye. And the article points out, what's the interpretation of that symbol?
That archaeologists interpret it as representing a two-tailed comet.
Wow. Okay. So, let me get this straight. You have structures aligned to dates, possibly related to a comet's debris stream, and inside or associated with them, you find imagery of birdmen, maybe linked to the underworld or death.
Right.
And those birdmen images include a specific symbol interpreted as a comet.
That's what the source argues. It's a powerful convergence, isn't it? Multiple layers. The date, the potential catastrophic event, and then a visual symbol of the cosmic object itself.
And the links keep coming, according to the article. Ta, the god left in shadow at Abu Simbel, often shown with a green face.
Okay. Why is that significant?
Well, the Taurid meteor shower is known for producing really bright meteors, fireballs, and they're also known for often appearing green.
Ah, so the color connection too. Green face, green fireballs.
And there's more with Ta. He was closely associated with the sacred bull, Apis, in Egyptian religion.
Okay, hang on. The Taurid meteor shower, you said earlier it appears to radiate from the constellation Taurus. The bull.
Exactly. It's like the source of the meteors is encoded in the symbolism associated with the god linked to the alignment date.
It's almost like a narrative told through myth and art. The alignment marks the date. The birdman underworld thing hints at the fear or destruction.
The green face and the bull link to the appearance and the cosmic source, the Taurids and Taurus.
And that forked eye motif is like the explicit picture. This is about a comet. It's incredibly specific if all these connections the author draws are accurate.
And we can't forget the Aztec connection we started with. February 22nd, end of their solar year, linked to their god Huitzilopochtli,
Right. And the article notes he's associated with birds like Ptah.
and often depicted with green or blue-green colors. Remember Ptah's green face. Huitzilopochtli has a blue-green hummingbird helmet. Similar palette, possibly linked to those green toward fireballs again.
And he holds something called the Zuquatl.
The fire serpent, often shown as a weapon, like a spear thrower. The article suggests these likely represented flaming meteors.
Fire serpents as meteors. That makes sense.
And get this, there are 2 Xucotls depicted on the famous Aztec calendar stone. And they're associated with a great flood that ended their previous era, the fourth sun.
A flood, like the tsunamis proposed from the 1014 AD ocean impact, potentially linked to Akh-Mulji.
That's the parallel the author suggests. It echoes that theme of destruction potentially coming from the sky, linked to these serpent meteor symbols.
Goodness. So the Aztec connection isn't just the date. It brings in the bird symbolism again, the green, blue, green colors, and these fire serpents explicitly representing meteors, potentially linked to a catastrophic flood. It all seems to point back to the same cluster of ideas.
So putting it all together, the article lays out a really compelling argument, doesn't it?
It really does. It suggests that these shared solar alignments on February 22nd and October 22nd, plus this very consistent and specific symbolism,
The birdmen, the comet motifs, the bull connection, the fire serpents.
found across Akh-Mulji in Georgia, Abu Simbel in Egypt, and even echoed in Aztec culture. It all strongly supports the hypothesis, according to the source, that these monuments, these dates, they're all related.
Related to Comet Encke, the Taurid meteor stream, and the potential threat or impact it represented to ancient peoples.
It's a truly remarkable potential convergence of evidence across cultures that seem so separate across such vast stretches of time.
The article basically concludes by reiterating this point. February 22nd and October 22nd seem to have been incredibly important dates for multiple ancient civilizations over thousands of years.
Important enough that they went to huge efforts to preserve the knowledge of these dates, encoding them in astronomical alignments in their most lasting monumental architecture.
And based on all that shared symbolism, it seems highly likely, according to the author, that these dates, the myths, the symbols, are somehow tied to observing meteors, specifically from the Taurid stream.
And of course, as with any idea like this, that challenges conventional thinking.
Right, the source is clear.
Mm-hmm.
More research is needed. Interdisciplinary study, archaeology, astronomy, geology, mythology, that's what will help us really understand the full picture, the full meaning behind these monuments and the secrets they might hold.
It definitely opens up a whole new way of looking at ancient history, doesn't it? Thinking about what truly important enough to these people to encode in stone and earth like this.
And it highlights how much hidden knowledge might still be sitting there in ancient sites, just waiting for us to connect the dots across cultures and centuries.
Wow. Well, this deep dive has certainly been a journey. We started with, a surprising detail about shared dates.
And ended up exploring this sweeping hypothesis connecting ancient Georgia, Egypt, the Aztecs, maybe even the Bronze Age collapse, and 11th century tsunamis, all potentially linked through cosmic events and this shared language of symbolism about comets and meteors.
It absolutely makes you think about how interconnected human cultures might have been, or maybe just how similar their careful observations of the cosmos were, leading them to parallel conclusions and warnings documented in their art and architecture.
Definitely food for thought.
So here's something for you, the listener, to maybe ponder as you go about your day. If these ancient cultures really were observing and marking significant cosmic events like meteor showers or even impacts, what does that tell us about their level of sophistication, their understanding of the sky, and how it could directly impact their lives?
And maybe even more provocatively, how on earth might they have communicated or shared such complex knowledge across those vast distances? Or managed to pass it down so accurately through so many generations?
A lot to think about indeed.
It always is when you dig deep into these sources.
Thank you again for sharing these absolutely fascinating sources with us for this deep dive.